Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Ibrahim Amir Mwaile. So, today I'm here specifically with you to discuss some business, of course, and we are in the direction, the line of computer science and AI technology. So, for today specifically, we want to try to answer, to attempt that question that really have been there for quite a long time. And our question today that I want to discuss with you in no time is about, really, can computers think? Yeah, that is our question. Can computers think? Really, can we ever have a computer that is capable of thinking? Of course, I know you know the computer, that electronic device that takes in inputs, processes them, and produces outputs. So computers can really carry out complex computations. Yeah, of course, on that we have no arguments. We all agree about that. But our concern is about thinking. Can we conclude that really computers think, or they are capable of just carrying out computations? Hey, captain is already afraid. My captain, don't mind. We are going to sort you out. Yeah, so this is our main area of concern for today. And of course, as I have mentioned earlier, the question has been there for quite a long time. So different people, they have given their view in regards to this question. And of course, some of them said yes, computers are capable of thinking, while others have said no, computers are just mere machines that work on principles and algorithms designed by humans, but actually for them they do not think. Yeah, so as I have mentioned, some people said yes, computers do think. And why do they say that computers think? Yeah, they say that computers are capable of performing what the human brain does. Remember, humans do think, on that we all agree. And we are sure that it is the human brain that enables the humans to think. So, they say, as long as the computers are capable of doing what the human brain does, then we can conclude that computers do think. They say that computers are capable of learning, reasoning, adapting, and creating. And of course, that is 100% true. If you have ever interacted with the AI systems that are there, you are a witness on that. Computers are capable of reasoning depending on the situation you are asking a given question. They can create, these AI systems create literature, they can create art, they can create music, among others, as you have interacted with them. They are capable of learning. Of course, they learn the patterns. These AI models, these systems are trained. Yes, they are trained. They learn, of course, from the patterns, from the different data given to them. So anything capable of learning, reasoning, adapting, and creating, we cannot say that that thing does not think. Of course, that is according to them. They say that computers, if we regard thinking as computation, then yes, computers can achieve that. And that was Putnam who said so, that as long as we refer to thinking as the ability to compute, in other words, we define thinking in terms of the functionality, not in terms of the mental state of the object that is thinking. Yeah, of course you can conclude that computers think, because everything that is achieved as a result of thinking, computers can do so. They say that if thinking is the ability to learn and adapt, then yes, if you consider thinking in that direction, as we have said earlier, that computers are capable of learning and reasoning, then we can conclude that computers do think. And don't forget that we have the strong and the weak AI systems. If we talk about the strong, these people claim that the strong AI systems, they perform tasks and they really understand what they are performing. In other words, it computes and it knows what it is computing. But if we talk about the weak one, so for the weak AI, the weak artificial intelligence, it is capable of carrying out tasks but of course it does not understand what it is doing, but it is capable. It lacks that awareness and consciousness, but it is capable of carrying out the tasks. But these people say, yeah, computers are capable of thinking, they do think. But as we said earlier, of course there are very many arguments concerning that issue of the computers being capable of thinking. But of course some of them said no, a very big no, please, no. Yeah, so they say that we cannot conclude that computers think. Of course computers are just mere devices, they are just machines, so we can never say that they do think. Why are they saying so? They say that computers just manipulate symbols but do not actually understand. Yeah, that is according to the Chinese room argument. It assumes, it elaborates, it tries to define that computers are just machines that are capable of manipulating symbols, but actually without that awareness of what they are doing. They do not understand, but they are capable of carrying out the tasks. Why? Because of the algorithms, because of the rules that were set. So it just follows the procedures and it accomplishes the task, but in actual sense it doesn't know what it is doing. They say that computers of course lack emotions and awareness, and that is true. They are just they are following the human designed algorithms and the human training, but actually they are not understanding what they are doing. So we cannot say that they do think. And of course considering the current state of technology, all of what is said here is 100% okay and true. So computers lack awareness and emotions. They are just basing on the human designed algorithms. Of course they lack a free will and they just simulate thinking, but actually they do not think. So right now we happen to see that we have people who say that computers do think, and others say no, computers do not think. So what can we conclude from a scenario like this, from a situation like this? Of course, before deciding and concluding whether computers think or they do not think, we need to first understand what thinking is. Yeah, so that one can help us to understand and to derive a concrete conclusion from the situation. Now, of course, thinking has a variety of definitions. You can Google out some and you find out. But among them, someone defined thinking as the process, as the manipulation of information in memory in order to form concepts, solve problems, reason, and make decisions. Yeah, what a definition. Said that thinking, in order for thinking process to happen, we only need two things. First of all, we need a container, that is the memory, somewhere where we can keep our information. So we need information and we need a container where that information is contained, such that we are going to manipulate that information and we are capable of reasoning, solving problems, and making decisions. So whenever we have information in memory, we manipulate it and we are capable of solving problems, then we can conclude that thinking has happened, that something has really thought. So that is it. Now if we examine the human body, if we examine the humans, oh, look here, we have a cute lady. This cute lady is looking somewhere. So besides how we have a gentleman here, this gentleman maybe is an expert in the puzzle games. He was carrying out he was playing some puzzle games. I don't know, how do they call this game? By the way, how is this game called? Okay, but what I know that it is a mind game, it is a puzzle game. So to play such a game, you need to be thinking, of course. But now, this someone, how does he use for thinking? Of course, he's using his brain. We are seeing here the brain. Yeah. So we can conclude that humans use their brains for thinking. As we have said in our definition earlier, that we need a container, a memory, where information is stored such that it is manipulated for the thinking process to occur. So we happen to see that for the humans, their memory is their brain. So it is the container that is going to keep the information which is going to be used in the thinking process. Now, what about the computers? Of course, we have our functioning computer here, a set computer system, whole of it. But now, what does the computer use to achieve the same purpose as that achieved by humans using their brain? Yes. So the computers do use the CPU. Yeah, so as the humans use their brains, the computers are going to use the CPU to achieve the same task. Keep in mind our definition. We said that we need two things. We need a container and we need information. So the information is contained in that container. So wherever that information is manipulated and problems are solved, we make decisions and we reason basing on the manipulation of information contained in that memory, then we can conclude that thinking has occurred. So from here we see that computers use the CPU to achieve the same purpose as that achieved by humans using their brains. So now we happen to see that in order for the computers to reason and make decisions, they need the following. First of all, they need the brain. And that brain, as you have said earlier, it is their CPU. As the humans use their human brain, they need data for training. Of course, that is true. For us, we humans, we get the information through the life experience. You walk, you study, you be in a certain situation. So when that situation comes to you again in the near future, you have something to relate to. But computers, that is not the case for the computers. For them, they have to get information from the data that we do really provide to them. And of course, they need the actual training. Yeah, even if it is a person, if they give you a book that is really written in Chinese, you can never get something from it. We cannot say that you do not think because you do not understand what is written, but you are not trained to manipulate that data there. So you cannot say that you are not thinking. So we cannot conclude that computers are not capable of thinking because they cannot attempt a task that they are not trained to attempt to solve. So they have to first be taught, to first be trained. As for you, the way you train someone to learn a language such that he can solve problems using that language. So consider a system that is an AI system that is going to diagnose patients to check to see whether those people they have diabetes or they have any given disease. So we have our system and its purpose, it is specifically to diagnose patients. After accomplishing training from a given data and that system is trained properly, so what is it going to be capable of doing? First of all, it is going to take patient's data. We feed in the data that this patient, we feed in the heartbeat, the heart rate, of course we feed in the weight, the blood pressure and the blood work. So we give that system information concerning that patient. It is going to do what? It is going to compare the data against its learning patterns. It gets the data we feed in, then it compares. Remember, we said for it is going to get its information from being trained and from the data that we are going to supply to that system. After that, it calculates the probabilities. Maybe this someone, and it gives us the risk score. Maybe this someone is 90% the probability that this someone is diabetes is positive or is negative, it is 20 or 90 or something like that. Then after that, it gives advice accordingly. It says no, so based on your condition, you have to take this diet, you have to start making this physical, and so on. So a computer, a mere machine, is going to be accomplishing this, but of course after training it. So okay, let us first continue. Now, from all what has been said, we can drive a very simple conclusion. the idea and the debate of computers capable of thinking or not capable of doing so, it depends on the way we are going to define thinking, on the way we look at the concept of thinking. If we happen to take thinking in the direction of the mental awareness and consciousness of the object that is thinking, of course right now computers cannot achieve that because they are just machines. We never know in the near future, as we talked about the stronger AI, maybe they will evolve. We don't know what the future is holding for us, but right now they cannot achieve that because they are just devices. But if we take thinking and we just consider the functionality, the process, the end result of the process, now 100% computers can achieve that, because of course they compute and solve tasks even better than with the humans. You know the times that you have given your work, your problems to the AI systems to solve them for you. So meaning that they are capable of accomplishing the real sense of thinking if we consider the functionality. So we can say that as humans, computers can learn. They can learn after being trained, and then and they can be capable of solving any given sort of problems. Yeah, so if it looks like a duck, it seems like a duck, it works like a duck, then it is probably a duck. That is how James said. Yeah, he said that we have an object and that object resembles another object exactly. It resembles it physically, the physical appearance, the functionality, it behaves the same as the other object. So why don't we conclude that the two are similar? So if we happen to see that the computer can mimic, it can simulate exactly what the human brain does and even beyond, yes, so why don't we conclude that what the human brain does, exactly the computer is doing it, and that is thinking. Yes, so our answer to that question, to summarize the whole statements, is a yes and a no. If you consider the mental consciousness and awareness, then computers right now, our answer is a no, they do not think. But if you consider the functionality, the end result of the process, we have a big yes. Our computers can achieve that. Thank you for watching.